My name is Lloyd and I'm an independent vehicle consultant. I find cars for people. Over the past year, on my YouTube channel, I've done a series of about 25 reviews, known as the Tweed Jacket reviews, where I've reviewed and assessed cars of all different shapes and sizes, old and new, expensive and cheap. I've had some feedback though from some of my viewers who obviously love the reviews, but want something a little bit less expensive. And so I present to you no budget reviews, all filmed on a phone, no fancy editing, no fluid head tripods, no DSLRs, just honest cars for less than £1,000 that you can pick up on the second-hand market. So join me on an adventure around the country as we go and find these cars for less than £1,000, and we have a lot of fun doing so. So good afternoon and welcome to another episode of No Budget Reviews. I really should get a microphone one of these days. There's probably a bit of wind noise, and for that I apologise, but you know, we don't have any budget for anything, so that's just the way it goes. Today we have this 2001 Skoda Fabia Estate 1.9 TDI Elegance. This is fitted with the 100 horsepower turbo diesel PD engine, and I know that they're legendary for going for many miles, up to maybe 500,000 miles in some cases, if you keep servicing them with decent oil and change the cam belt regularly. The Fabia Estate was released in the year 2000, I believe. This one has been to France, and it's a interesting looking car. Super mini estates were much more common at the time. I think the Fabia really is the last one in its class to still be made, and if you go shopping for a brand new one, you won't find any rivals. But at the time there were things like the Seat Cordoba Vario, the Volkswagen Polo Estate, and I think perhaps a Renault Clio Estate at one point, but I don't remember exactly. I think this might have been a different generation, but there were a lot more around, particularly Volkswagen groups just used to like making them. The design is very angular for the first generation Fabia. I didn't like it when it came out, and I don't know what I think about it now. I think it just looks quite retro. I think the proportions of this one are certainly a bit better balanced than the saloon version. Yes, there was a Fabia saloon of the first generation. They're not very common, but they do exist. This one has got a little bit of misty headlamp, bit of a cracked fog lamp, but it has done 140,000 miles. Colin, who very kindly let me drive his E46 BMW, also has let me drive this today. And I think I prefer this probably. It's probably because I've had a lot of Volkswagen Group products in my time, and you know, it just seems very familiar to somebody like me. Of course, the first reason why you would buy a Fabia Estate is because of the boot. So let's take a look at that now. Okay, I'm more successful at getting that open. So we lift that up, little load blind. This car also has this enormous big sort of tray thing, but if we lift that up and lift this up, we will find a full-size spare wheel underneath there, which is brilliant to see in these days of tyre repair kits and things like that. Boot capacity in this car, I imagine it's about 400 to 450 litres, depending on how you load it. 12-volt socket in there, which is very good. Use a little hoover or something, you need to clean out the back of your Fabia. These boot locks here, they can be a bit problematic. It's the same issue on the Octavia estates of this time as well, but this one seems okay. It's not too heavy to show that as well. Let's walk round the side and see if I can get into the back. Nice light doors. There's my secret mission documents there as well. Just move those out of the way. So this fabric in here is really bizarre. I don't know what was going on at the design studio when they came up with this. Very strange. Anyway, electric rear windows in this particular car. This is the Elegance trim. top of the range. Nice comfortable seats. This might be Colin though, he's a bit shorter than me, so I don't know if that will necessarily be the most leg room. Headroom though is absolutely fine. Little cup holder there. Another one there. No rear armrest, but never mind. And you have courtesy lights as well on either doors. That's very luxurious. And some mat pockets at the bottom there, and a seat back pocket too. Very nice. Let's get in the front. Okay, let's get in the front. Gosh, these door handles were on everything, weren't they? The Volkswagen Group at the time. Absolutely everything. So just get in here carefully. Oh, Colin's fitted a little GPS type thing which tells you what your speed is. Just get in. Straight away, having had a 1998 Polo as my first car, it feels very, very Volkswagen Group, which is no surprise whatsoever. Just going to ratchet that down and go, my gosh, that goes a long way down. Perfect. This car's got the optional 6-disc CD changer down there. It's a factory option in this car. Let's try the glove box of the secret mission documents. And it goes in. Fantastic. Gonna need those in a bit. Spare bulb kit, very handy for going to France. Same utterly bizarre trim fabric in here, but the seats themselves are very supportive and very comfortable. Don't know what's happened to the gear lever, who knows. Obviously I'm wearing my gloves again today, because you never know. Enormous ashtray type thing, which says no smoking in it. Don't know what's going on there. Perhaps you could put a double din unit in here. Air conditioning in this particular model, which I'm sure does work. And of course a little thing for hooking up your phone to the tape player to make it play modern music. Quite narrow but large door pockets. 4 electric windows in a place where they should be, which is on the doors. Electric mirror adjuster, very similar to the one in my Toledo actually. Obviously Volkswagen do keep going on variations of the same theme. So likewise these stalks for the wipers and the lights, they're all very familiar. Got heated seats as well in this Elegance trim. Apparently they were standard in this car, which still does surprise me. But in the Czech Republic, obviously it does get a little bit cold sometimes, so maybe it's not such a surprise. Could do with maybe a new gear lever gate at some point, but it doesn't really matter. Large conventional handbrake with leather on it as well. That's very nice. Very nice indeed. Nice clear instruments. Not really much to see here. If I just turn the car on quickly here. Let's make sure we're out of gear this time so we don't run away. Yep, we're in neutral. It's a little bit on the rough side, but you know what Volkswagen diesel engine of this era is not. Let's turn it off quickly. We're going to take a look in a second at the engine. Can't really feel through my gloves whether this is, I think that's soft touch actually. Very good place for the hazard alert warning switch. Twin airbags in this car. Probably side airbags as well. It's a nice little spec actually for one of these. Right, let's now put the mount up and we'll talk about engines. And here is the 1.9 TDI engine, developing in this car 100 horsepower. That washer bottle is the same as actually on my Seat Toledo. Interesting, they kept that all the way through to the modern era. Windscreen washer reservoir looks very familiar as well. Battery will be there. The engine looks quite large in here. I mean, it is a 1.9 engine in a small car, so I suppose that's the way it goes. But, you know, big plastic covers over this. I imagine it's a bit of a pain to get to certain things in here. Clearly on the TDI engines, make sure that you do change the cam belt at regular intervals. This one's been done about 4,000 miles ago, and use good quality oil, and it should just keep on running. Very good.
If you can believe it, there were even more engines available in a Skoda Fabia in the first generation, the 6Y type, than there were in the BMW E46 at the same time. It's absolutely crazy how many engines were available. This is why I'm not going to talk to you about the engines whilst we're driving, because I simply can't remember all of these. So there was a very brief time that you could get a 1 litre engine, which is an 8-valve unit. That's from the Mark III Polo. That was only on sale for the first year of production, 99 to 2000, at 50 brake horsepower. That was replaced in 2001 with a 1.2 so-called MPI engine that had 6 valves, and that was 55 brake horsepower. That was replaced in 2003 with an HTP unit, but also 55 brake horsepower. There was also a 12-valve unit that came out the same year, about 65 brake horsepower. Probably replaced the ancient OHV Skoda engine, which was actually sold in this car in a 1.4 litre guise. It was sold from 2000 to 2003, and that made 60 horsepower. Also, one of the launch engines was a 68 brake horsepower version of this engine, but was also in the Skoda Felicia, and that was sold until 2003 as well. The best engine probably at launch for many people was the 1.4 16-valve engine that made 75 brake horsepower, and that was sold right the way through to 2007. There was also a 79 brake horsepower version of this engine from 2006 to 2007. I don't really know why. The more exciting version was the 100 brake horsepower version of the 16-valve engine, which was sold again all the way through production 99 to 2007. Briefly, the engine out of the Mark III Golf GTI 8-valve was sold in this car 99 to 2000, 120 brake horsepower. That was then, I think, detuned because of Euro 3 emissions regulations, and sold from 2000 to 2007, 115 brake horsepower. Then we get onto the diesels. There's quite a lot of these as well. From 2005 to 2007, there was a 1.4 TDI with 70 brake horsepower. From 2003 to 2005, I presume that's, this is the earlier engine now. There was 1.4 TDI with 75 brake horsepower. And again, from 2005 to 2007, there was a TDI with 80 brake horsepower. Apparently, those are very economical. The one probably to avoid in a Fabia is the SDI engine, 1.9 non-turbo diesel engine with 63 brake horsepower, sold from 1999 to 2006. Then we get to the engine in this car. It's a 1.9 TDI PD engine, sold from 2000 to 2007 with 101 brake horsepower. And then, like in the old Citroen ZX Vulcan, there was a turbo diesel hot hatch, the VRS, that was sold from 2003 to 2007 with the same engine as in a Golf and many other cars of that time, with 130 horsepower. Phew. Right, once again, down the narrow lanes of Somerset and into the little town centre we have here. Straight away, this car is a lot more suitable for these roads than that BMW was. Hopefully a nice driver will let me out of here. Just wait a second because I'm a considerate driver. I'll put my lights on using the generic Volkswagen headlamp switch. It's always in the same position. Here we go. Clutch bite's a little bit high in this car. Now the main issue with this car is electrical. Lots and lots of electrical issues with these and other Volkswagen Group products at the time. I'm told the ride is a bit soft in this example. The Fabia never was the most dynamic one, apart from possibly the VRS, and still today it's more a practical car. It's not designed as an outright sports car, but the steering does feel quite nice. You can see why the previous owner drove this car all the way down to south of France and found it to be a very relaxing, capable companion. It's pretty lazy going along here. I know I've only got 100 horsepower, but due to the amount of torque this engine's got, it feels good. Imagine you get 50 miles per gallon out of this quite easily if you didn't drive like an absolute idiot. And of course, on this channel, we drive very moderately. That's, you know, just what we do. Let's go over this pump and see what it's like. Oh, it's very comfortable. No problem whatsoever. It's a very easy car. The visibility is really good. See why one of my friends actually only sold hers recently. She had a 1.9 Fabia TDI, and she really liked it. I quite like it too. Let's see if we've got some power. Ooh. Definitely want to make sure when you buy your Fabia, if you do go for a diesel, and you know, can't talk about them too much on my channel, but sometimes I have to. You want to make sure you avoid that SCI engine with 63 horsepower. Want to make sure that you go for something with a bit more oomph. I think the steering of this is hydraulic. The platform of this car is the same as a Mark 5 Polo and the Mark 4 Seat Ibiza. That's the way we call them in this country. Let's go around the roundabout and just see how that goes. Oh, thanks for pulling out in front of me. Right, here we go. Nice, precise gear change. A little bit warm, but then again, this car's done 141,000 miles, so you know what you expect. Just a nice, comfortable car that feels very spacious and quite high quality for a super mini of this era. I mean, you know, some of you will have seen the Citroen Saxo review that I did on my channel last autumn, and that was a 2002 car, so it was virtually the same year as this, and you know, that really is a car from another age in comparison. Just nice and smooth and easy to handle. I can see why Colin was very keen to get hold of one of these, and it feels good. See, these cars aren't trouble free or anything, but can you buy one of these that's fairly decent for under £1,000? Yes, I mean, you can pick these up for 500 if you want. Let's change the camera angle. Always, viewers, apologies about the position of the mount. That's just the way it goes on this channel. Ooh, Mark 4 Escort. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Oh, this is a lot of fun. Oh, a lot of fun for not much money. That's what we're all about on No Budget Reviews. Lots and lots of fun for not much money, and certainly an E46 will deliver that for you in spades. What a joy. What an absolute joy. It's really, you know, in a little Somerset town like this, you cannot in any way exploit the capabilities of this car to be full. You need to be the Autobahn, all that horsepower, and obviously maybe driving not like we do on this channel, maybe a bit more like a BMW driver. I hate to say it, but having a car like this, it does feel that, you know, you want to go fast. You want to make sure that, you know, everybody gets out of your way. It's really not quite the road for testing it on. Let's cut that short there then. So thank you once again for watching this episode of No Budget Reviews. Is the Skoda Fabia worthy of your consideration when you're looking for a car for under £1,000? Well, absolutely. It really seems like a high quality car from this era. I mean, sure, it's not problem free, and you've got to make sure you keep on top of the the maintenance of these cars and everything like that, but it's pretty superb, really. Anyway, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel for more of the same if you haven't already done so. My Facebook page is facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. And I've got an Instagram page too, instagram.com/Lloyd_Vehicle_Consulting. Thank you.